Hello and welcome, Speed Gaming. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Today on the menu we've got Azure Dreams Racking to the Top tournament. Uh, we are in the first phase of the tournament, week one matches. Today it's Wugga versus Shuzo. Uh, they will be running off very soon. Shuzo is already getting at the starting position. I will start them off. And they should be running soon. And while they're getting to the tower, let me speak a little bit about what's gonna happen today. Azure Dreams, roguelite mystery dungeon RPG. We've got a tower of 40 floors to beat. We will have familiar to help us with that, and lots of monsters to deal with. This tournament is a little bit special. We are using randomizing the randomizer by amazing programmer, a member of our community who created all of this and made it all possible. The game is already randomized a lot, but we want to take away a little bit from that, so both of the players will deal with the same hardships. But at the same time, we want to change the game a little bit from original. So our runners already got comfortable with the original tower. They're so good at beating it that we have to make it a little bit tougher. And the randomization part that we're gonna start with a random familiar. We're gonna have a random sword at the beginning, random shield, random spell ball, and the random egg. So today we are starting with a cyclone. Other things that are randomized in this version is that the starting monster will have its spell awoken always. Not all of the monsters have the spell when you find them in the tower, but Cyclone is one of those who doesn't have a spell, and now it does. So it means that all of the cyclones that we're gonna meet in the towers will have that spell awoken as well. Our runners many times choose to also hatch the egg because it can be random, so it can be any egg, any monster that we meet in the tower. And there are some broken ones, so they definitely want to check for that. And yeah, Arachne is one of those broken ones. It's very powerful. It has double attack. Cyclone on its own is not a very good monster, I would say, but it has an amazing spell, Grave, the most powerful spell in the game. And that is a problematic part in a sense, because now all of the cyclones that he will meet, or that our runners will meet in the tower, will have that spell awoken, and they will be more than happy to use it. Also, we can see one additional thing for those who know the game. Cyclone originally is a wind monster. We've got an elemental triangle in this game. Fire beats wind, wind beats water, water beats fire. Uh, but the starting cyclone here in this feed is actually a water. So now all of the cyclones in the tower will be water as well. Our runners have to remember about that. And yeah, we can already see a divergence in the path between the two runners. Wugga has switched to Arachne immediately, while Shuzo is continuing to go with a cyclone. Arachne is not so good in the beginning, but it has an amazing trait of double attack potential. Every time Wugga will level up and his familiar will level up, the attack value of that Arachne will go up by a certain value, but the max attack that Arachne can have will go by the double amount. And if Wugga is able to restore that attack, that will make this spider very powerful and pretty much be able to destroy every single monster in the tower with physical attacks. For now, Wugga is mostly fighting with by not using his familiar. He's just trying to get experience on it. He got a pretty good starting sword, so he's able to handle the fights on his own. And now Wugga is already doing something that is called fusion. That is one of the things that is possible in this tournament. To get the fusion, you normally need a blue color that you can get on floor 12. But in this tournament, we are already starting with blue color. So what Wugga has done, he joined both of his monsters, Cyclone and a Spider. Now the Spider has the spell that Cyclone had, the very powerful Grave spell, and also got the talent that Cyclone has. Cyclone has a talent of half of MP being used, so that is definitely useful in this case. The Grave spell, like I mentioned, is very powerful, but it's also very expensive. So with half MP, that's something that is very nicely welcomed here. In the meantime, Shuzo is still going with the Cyclone. I'm not sure whether he will switch to the Spider. Actually, he didn't even check that he's got a Spider. So maybe the strategy here is that, like, okay, I'm first gonna get few levels. I'm gonna check later on and hatch that egg, because when you're hatching an egg, monster gets a current level of Co. So when you're hatching it immediately, that monster will have level 1. So maybe Shuzo is thinking that, like, okay, I'll wait a bit, I'll gain few levels and then hatch the monster, see what it is, and already like make it so that it's not super weak. And we can see that I didn't notice on Wugga's side, but yeah, that's another thing that we'll discuss soon. How we can check what they have. But both Shuza and Wugga found a Hazak herb. Hazak herb is a herb that actually restores your attack. So this is something that is very much welcomed when you've got a Spider familiar. Oh, Warp Trap on Wugga's side. That is something very bad. Can that Arachne? Yes, luckily Arachne was able to handle that Cyclone that was there. So it's not dead, but Wugga needs to get to that Spider quickly. Luckily, he was able to get to him, and yeah, Wugga is going to next floor. Estimate time. We have 1 hour for the runners. The winner of the match will be whoever is higher at 1 hour mark. If they are able to beat the tower all 40 floors faster, then whoever does that first is winning the match. And we've got best of 3 today. So let's say that maximum it will be 3 hours, but knowing our runners, I somehow feel that like the whole thing will take around 2 hours max. So speaking a little bit of our runners, Wugga is current world record in Azure Dreams, very active runner, very fast. So definitely a force to reckon with. Shuzo is not playing that much, but pretty much is participating in any tournament. He's got all the knowledge that is needed here, so anything can happen, especially in Azure Dreams. Oh yeah, now we can see on Wugga's side how Cyclone decided to use the spell and 23 damage out of 35. So yeah, you have to be very careful about Cyclones, what you're doing. But yeah, going back to what I was talking about with Shuzo. Shuzo has all the knowledge. Oh, unfortunately, Shuzo goes down on floor 3 to a flame. Wugga is already on floor 4. So that makes him the winner of round 1. I'm gonna ping our runners. They will... they're gonna load up second seat and we're gonna restart soon. And yeah, while they will be loading second seed and preparing the game, I'm gonna talk a little bit about the thing that is sort of special in this tournament. The full name is Rack Me to the Top Random Toolkit 2 SDE. SDE stands for State Display Edition. This like nice looking window above the game feed that you have there, that is called a state display for Azure Dreams. It allows you to monitor the game outside from the game. Basically, it's a game tracker. So what we've got here is like status for our main character, Ko. We can see its HP, its inventory, level, experience, and the floor they're on. We can see the same stats for the familiar, and we can also see the inventory. All of those things are exactly the same as you would see in the game. It's just it's making our commentator jobs easier because we can immediately see what is happening. When you've got two game feeds to check, sometimes you can miss certain situations. But when we see what kind of inventory they have, what are the stats, we immediately can go back to like watching one stream and say what is happening. But also it's the same for you viewers. You can join at any point and see exactly who is in the lead, what inventory they have, what situation they're in. So Shuzo has already loaded seed number 2, same for Wugga. Let me confirm with them that it's okay, and we'll soon be able to start round number 2. In the meantime, also let's give a point to Wugga. There you go. We've got a point here. And once the runner get into the starting position, I'll count them down and we'll be ready. Like I mentioned earlier, in the starting, like randomization of this tournament works this way. Yes, round 2 will be a different seat, and that's what I'm trying to get to, is that they will have different familiar and different starting eggs. So this is the moment where we are making our predictions or hopes what we want to see in the round 2. So please mention what do you want to see. Both of the runners are ready. Let me count them down. And they should be off very, very soon. Yes, unfortunately, Shuzo had a bit of a problem on floor 2 and died to a flame. So yeah, that's Azure Dreams. Sometimes the matches are like full 1 hour, and sometimes they're 5 minutes. Tower is mean to all of us and is trying to get us. But yeah, the runners should be going soon. Don't worry, Rafalina, we've got plenty of Azure Dreams still. We've got round 2, possibly round 3, and there will be another match today as well later on, but we'll get there when we get there. So, they started, and let's see what kind of monster they will get. Moment of tension. And it's gonna be a clown. Clown is one of my favorite monsters. It's special in that sense that it has a range magic, same as a grave. So that will be very useful to our runners. But one additional thing about Clown that is special is that spell level is doubled. So that the mixture magic will be very powerful very quickly. And with it being range, you can snipe many monsters before they even get to you. The mixture magic cost for this one is not too high. It's only 0.75 MP. So they should be able to like use it whenever they want. The only quote unquote problem with the clown is that because it allows you to fight with everything, it's sort of slow. In this game, we just want to get to the 40 floor 40 as soon as possible. We don't want to fight. So yeah, let's see how our runners will tackle that. In the egg, they found a Mandara. Mandara doesn't like give you anything special. It does have a trait, if I recall right, that it's not possible to confuse it. So if Wugga or Shuzo decide to um, decide to fuse that Mandara into a clown that will get a trait of not being able to be confused, and that will also pass on to Ko. So in a sense, that is a good thing, but that is probably not so important in the early floors. Let's see what they will decide to do later on. Also, other starter items, Blizzard Sword, that's not a bad thing. That's a sword with attack +5. So Wugga is able to, again, fight without using the familiar, which is a little bit faster. So definitely something that he wants to do. And now Shuzo is hatching an egg. So he will see that it's a Mandara. Oh, I didn't notice. His clown is dead. That's why he's hatching an egg. He must have died to a troll, so that's a bit of a misstep. Okay, so we will see another divergence in pass. Shuzo will go with a Mandara. Mandara doesn't have any spell currently, but it does have a special attack that can confuse an enemy. Let's see whether Shuzo will use it. Probably not so early on in the tower because he can still fight. But yeah, Shuzo is looking for a spell. Unfortunately, Mandara doesn't have a spell, or at least it doesn't have it immediately. It has a hidden one, and to get a hidden spell awoken, you have to fuse a monster with another monster that doesn't have a spell. So let's see. Ooh, go up trap. That's another thing that we changed in this tournament. Normally, that like jumpy thingy that you could see on Wugga's side, that's the go up trap. That takes us to the next floor. And runners do want that because they want to beat the tower as soon as possible. So of course, going up makes sense to them. But in this tournament, we made it a little bit mischievous that the go up trap actually is replaced with a go down trap. So instead of going to the next floor, they will go to the previous floor. And that is, it is not always bad. It can be sort of a strategy whether you want to go up or down. The thing is that, like, if you go down, the items on the floor will be exactly the same as they were when you were first time on that floor. And if there were particularly good items on that floor, you may want to go back to get them again and then quickly get back to the elevator. So it's a possible stacking strategy. Yeah, Ravalino, this game is very peculiar. Apart from the thing that we are mostly showing off here at Tower, which is the main part of the game, there are few other elements to this game. You can build your own town. There is like a dating simulator. There are many fun things about this game. It's hard to describe exactly everything. You just gotta try. This game is plenty of fun. We've got like community of more than 500 members, so that says something about the game. Yeah. So what do we have currently? Shuzo is still on floor 2, while Wugga is on floor 4, fighting with a Cyclone. Actually, let me switch audio to Wugga so that we can hear him. He's actually in the lead. That's how we mark our leader currently. And yeah, we can see that Wugga is speeding those Cyclones from afar. Now the Cyclones in this seed are not as dangerous because they don't have anymore this very nasty grave spell. They can only attack you when they're adjacent to you directly. So you can snipe them very easily from afar. Wugga just got to floor 5. That's one thing that I didn't mention yet. In this game, there is exponential difficulty curve, I would say. The tower gets very nasty very quickly. Ko is at the same time the weakest and the strongest, quote unquote, monster in the tower. It doesn't have any spell on its own. It's sort of not so powerful in terms of stats. but it is also very flexible. Ko can, of course, use equipment. Ko can use spell balls. Ko has familiars to help him. And but that will, like, the stats itself for Ko will not do good very quickly. Very quickly, already starting around like floor 6, 10. Um, all of the monsters will be able to overpower Ko. So nobody really wants to fight in a speedrun of this game. But if we have to fight, we need to find ways to fight, and that ways to fight is usually by either finding amazing items that can deal with different kind of situations, or have good spell. In this case, Wugga still has the clown, which has like really good mixture magic with which you can like shoot many monsters from afar. But Shuzo doesn't have any mixture magic currently, so he needs to rely on items. Very soon he will not be able to fight normally. He will have to use items for that. And some of the items that can be useful are spell balls. For example, Wugga has pillar ball. Oh, Shuzo has it as well. It is a starting item. It's a fire spell ball, very strong against wind monsters. Still okay against fire monster, very bad against water monster. Again, elemental triangle. But there are also some other items that can be useful. For example, on Wugga's side, we can see that they've got Wugga has holy bells. That item will make all monsters leave the room. So if you are in a very tough situation, like for example Wugga is right now with quite many monsters, he may opt to use Holy Bell, and all of the monsters will stop attacking you and just go out of the room. There are also holy scrolls, malicious scrolls that can make a monster your enemy or confuse them. There are items like loops that Wugga has, exit loop that shows you immediately where the elevator is. There are plenty of items that make this game very interesting. Instead of like having one clear idea what you should do, you have so many options in tackling the tower. And pretty much the whole speedrunning concept here is like about the knowledge of the game. How much HP given monster has? How can I deal with it? Does it have any particular attributes that I can use? Like for example, Wugga right now is dealing with a monster called U-boat. It starts underground, and it will not go above this ground until it's next to the player. And when it's underground, you cannot attack it. So you always will have to get hit first. Plenty of interesting monsters to deal with. Plenty of interesting ways to deal with monsters. That is Azure Dream. What do we have currently? Wugga is on floor 7 going to floor 8. Shuzo is still like trying to find some resources on floor 4. That's usually what our runners do. Floors 1, 5 are fairly easy. You want to explore those floors and get some items for the reason that I mentioned earlier. Floors 6 to 10 are so-called water floors. Most scary monsters here are water. You don't want to stay on these floors too much, because normally when you play this game, you don't have usually good ways to deal with water monsters. In this particular seed, it's a little bit different because Wugga at least has wind mixture magic. Wind is strong against water, and also his range, so he's got a ways to deal with water monsters. But now Wugga just entered floor 10, which is a fire floor. Very scary fire monsters are in here. Like I mentioned, wind is weak against fire, so Wugga definitely will not want to stay here. And starting from next floor, floor 11, we will see a monster called a griffin, also very powerful fire monster. But what's scary about griffin is that it also has a magic. And with that magic, he will be able to snipe that clown from afar. And don't get me wrong, when pillar is the magic that Griffin has. If Pillar is used against a wind monster at this point, it's pretty much a one-hit death. So Wugga will have to be very careful around Griffons. He doesn't have good ways to deal with them. One way with which he would be able to deal with them is to pick them up. Some monsters can be picked up. It's not guaranteed. It's 62.5% chance to pick up a monster successfully. So it's not a low chance. It's actually quite good chance. But you know, RNG is RNG, so we have no idea how it's gonna be. Another interesting part of this tournament is spells balls randomization, which we could see right now on Wugga's side. Normally, all of the attacking spells balls are of fire element, so they're pretty much useful mostly against wind monsters. But we decided that it's gonna be fun to play with randomized spell balls, and Wugga was able to get one of those called Neosled. It's a water version of a fire spell. So to an extent, he's got a way to deal with water monsters right now, but of course that resource is very limited. So Wugga has to be very careful at how often he uses it, because spell balls that are found in the tower have random number of charges, from minimum 4, maximum 7. There are ways in which you can increase the number of charges on a ball. You can find a white sand. White sand will give you an additional charge to a ball. Shuzo is currently still on floor 5. Wugga is already on floor 12. Floor 12 normally is a floor that introduces us to very scary monsters called Krakens. They're water monsters. They're way too powerful for how early they show up in the tower. You never want to fight with Krakens. But in this case, Wugga will be very happy to fight with them. Having wind mixture magic, that Kraken will die in either 1 or max 2 hits. We didn't see them yet. So far we've seen just Dreamings, very annoying monsters, more annoying than scary. In that sense that they can put to sleep either you or your familiar, which it did for Wugga. So Wugga's familiar at this point is a little bit useless, but yeah, now it woke up. We're good. Wugga was able to pick up the Griffon, like I mentioned. That's one way to deal with them, and just toss it away. But there is another Griffon, another pickup. Quite good RNG with the pickup. Wugga has oh a rock. Yeah, Wugga has had few exit loops that were showing him immediately where the elevator is to the next floor, and I don't blame Wugga at all for using it right now, because these floors, fire floors, are very scary when you've got the wind monsters. You don't have very good ways to deal with the monsters. And Wugga can change element of the familiar, either by fusion or by finding seeds, elemental seeds that allow you to change an element. And now we've got a Kraken. Yeah, we can see that Wugga is not afraid at all. 2 hits and that Kraken will be gone. Normally, it's a very powerful monster, very tanky, very strong in terms of attacking you. And the annoying part is as well that it has an electrocute talent, making it so that when you attack it, you take some damage back. I think it's 1/4 of the damage goes back to you. What is happening on Shuzo's side? He's on floor 5. Mandara is not dead, but it's not around. Okay, he has collared his Mandara, probably had very low HP. Yeah, he was fighting. Oh, and Mandara goes down. I think Shuzo had AI 4 for his Mandara, making it so that this Mandara, instead of just following you, also would attack anything that it sees. So I guess Shuzo didn't have a magic, so that was his way with coping with the monsters. But right now, Shuzo doesn't have any familiar. He will have to go without a familiar. That is not necessarily a bad thing for a speedrunner. World record of this game is done this way, that you are not playing with the familiar. You're like using something called glitched entry. You're skipping the familiar altogether and just trying to zoom through the tower. Um, so, like I mentioned, fighting is a little bit slow, which you don't want to do. So you shouldn't need a familiar, right? When you're not fighting. And that is the case, that like when you don't have a familiar, we call it going commando. Usually it's faster than just fighting with a monster. So in a sense, it can be good to Shuzo that he may now speed up because he has no way to fight. He just has to find an elevator quickly and get to the next floor. In the meantime, we saw something very interesting on Wugga's side, a barong. We call it a casino or a gacha machine. The perk with this monster is that when you toss an item at it, it will spit out any other random item. So it can be a way to get some good items. I unfortunately didn't see what kind of items did Wugga get, but right now, for example, a holy bell, very good item. So that's a way to like get rid of like bad items, something that we don't need, and hope for something different. Yeah, Hazak is not very useful for Wugga. Okay, he's still playing with the casino. He's got plenty of pita fruits. Pita fruits are fruits that recover MP of a monster. So I guess he just recovered MP of that barong. Barongs for speeding the item actually use quite much MP. So when the MP is exhausted for the monster, it will just go into this kind of blue state where it just stays and does nothing. So you can continue playing with the gacha machine by just recovering MP of the monster. But of course, that takes time. It is a speedrun after all, so like getting some items is good, but like playing for too long with that gacha machine is not what our runners want. Wugga has now entered Pickett's territory. Pickets are very annoying monsters. They're not scary per se, they're very weak. They attack usually just for one, but they have a trait of being able to do two movements for your one, so they've got like a haste status, and they also are able to steal items from you. So you usually don't want to be next to them. You usually want to let your familiars deal with pickets so that you can like safely be at the distance and not worry about what they can do to you. The problem with that is that it's usually quite slow. There's plenty of pickets, they move fast, so they get to you quickly. You want to get out of the pickets floor as soon as possible. Now we can see Arachne on Wugga's side. They're like mentioned in the previous seed, very powerful monsters. They've got quite good attack, but Wugga shouldn't be too much worried because he's got a wind clown. Wind is strong against water, so those Arachnes can go down quite easily. But oh, you have to be careful, Wugga. A very low HP for that familiar. Oh no, Shuzo in the meantime goes down to a very nasty pincer of Bloom and a U-boat. So that's game two. Let's check. That's game and match. Let's check whether our runners will want to do a friendly third. So that seed is over. We've got one more seed generated for them because, of course, it's best of three. But right now, Wugga already won the match. That might be just friendly exhibition of what that seed has. Okay, and it seems that runners decided to go with the friendly third. So we will have more Azure Dreams. Okay. I've been missing a little bit in the chat. Speedrun, no, this is just a race. Speed race. Yeah, like you still have to be careful. Unfortunately, it's not a speedrun um, in a traditional sense because you cannot predict what's gonna happen in the tower. Everything is randomly generated, so you cannot prepare for it. That like you will know exactly what kind of inputs you need to do. This speedrun is basically all the knowledge. Uh, you just have to know what tower can throw at you, and yeah, and how to deal with it. Yep, I get that it was a joke, but there is some kind of truth to that joke. That like sometimes you put the speed away and just have to like think, what should I do? How can I tackle with this situation? So even though a joke, it it is a sad joke in a sense. Tower hates us and tries to get us. Okay, seems that they are loading third seed. Wugga seed is correct. Let me see. Shuzo seed. Okay, both of the seeds are fine. And soon we will restart our matches. Game number 3, friendly third. I wonder whether Wugga will go for something called glitched entry. He's very familiar with that technique. This is something that he's using in any percent runs. It's a technique where you are skipping a starting monsters and just trying to get through the tower as fast as possible. In this setting, it may not be so feasible because the first floor, which normally is a tutorial floor, it's much longer. In this version, it's cut down to just picking up items and going up the elevator, and going glitched entry is mostly done so that the tutorial floor will skip all the tutorial text, so it's just faster. But let's see what Wugga decides. Okay, let's see. Oh, my bad. We will have a short bio break for Wugga. So we're gonna stay on these screens for a while. In the meantime, I can talk a little bit more about what we can expect in seed number 3. So in seed number 1, we had an Arachne and Cyclone. In seed number 2, we had a Clown and a Mandara. So I wonder what can we see in seed number 3? For those familiar with the game, what would you want to see? There are so many interesting combinations of monster in this game that it's like really hard to choose. I already had like both of my favorite monsters in this exhibition. Arachne, I just purely love it. It's so powerful. It's amazing. And Clown just gives you the safety of a range mixture magic. But there are so many others that you can go. Skiff says Univern with a zoo egg. That would be interesting as well. Wugga is ready. Let's see whether Shuzo is as well. At least he's in the starting position. Saber and Volcano. Captain Nipil. Time to catch up. Let me actually do one thing. Let me copy the link to the Azure Dreams Discord. This is a Discord for this game. We are not just about speedrunning. We are just like a group of fans of the game. You can talk about everything you want, not just speedrunning concept. But of course, we are doing the speedruns as well. Apart from this link, let me post the links to our runners, Shuzo and Wugga. Wugga is streaming Azure Dreams very often. Both of them are fun to watch. Give them a follow, give them a sub, and they're off. They're off. We will soon know what is the monster number 3. And what will it be? A metal. I like metals too. Wet. So metal will give us a very peculiar mixture magic called AoE. But we don't know yet what kind of AoE magic, because it differs a lot based on the element. So we still need to see what kind of element it is. Originally, metal is wind, but now we've got. Oh, Shuzo, state display. Oh yeah, there it is. Thank you, Shuzo. Yeah, so it's a water metal. Metal has a trait of double defense that is very powerful. The unfortunate part about that is that it's like with Arachne, the defense needs to be recovered. So every time we level up, our max defense will go by double, but normal defense will go by factor of 1. So we need to recover that defense. There are a few ways in which you can recover, but if you do recover that defense when on higher levels, that metal will be very tough beast to die. And also now we can see already Shuzo using water mixture magic. AoE in this case works this way, that in a room it will affect the whole room. In the hallways it will affect only adjacent fields. It's quite powerful, so definitely they'll be using it. Again, water is strong against fire monster, so in this case they'll probably not want to stay too long on water floors. They will want to go to fire floors quickly. But we can see already that Wugga is doing a fusion, because in an egg we had an Ifrit, and Wugga decided to keep a metal. Okay. So now that metal has 2 types of mixture magic, a sword mixture magic that is very similar to pretty much exactly the same as what you would get with your starter monster Cuny, but also we have now AoE magic. What is happening on Wugga's side? Okay, he's just checking HP, making sure. Oh, I know what is happening on Wugga's side. The state display is not showing his familiar stats, and the problem with that is that state display is supposed to show, yeah, exactly, red color familiar, and he's on blue color. But Wugga noticed it, and he's like bagging and unbagging the monster on a red color. Now everything is fine. In the meantime, Shuzo is like proceeding with the tower. He changed already AI of the monster to 2, I guess, so that he doesn't use that mixture magic automatically, because as amazing as that mixture magic is, it's actually quite expensive. It costs 4 MP, so you cannot be very trigger happy on it, especially this early floors. You should keep that mixture magic for the situations where you really, really need it. But Shuzo didn't hatch the egg. One peculiar thing here is that you can see the egg doesn't have a name. Normally eggs have a color, a random color, indicating like what type of an egg it is. That color is random for every single entry. When the egg doesn't have a name, it means that the monster inside is actually evolved monster. That is a function of the randomizer. Normally you're not able to find evolved monsters in eggs. You have to find base monsters in the eggs and get them to level 20, and that's when they will evolve. But randomizer allows it so that you can have an egg of the evolved monster, But the thing is that you will get the egg without the name. So we knew that this egg was evolved monster or Cuny, but that's another thing for another story for another day. So yeah, Wugga decided to actually hatch it and fuse it, and he's now got also Blizzard Sword mixture magic, which is many times easier for these floors to deal with, and it costs only half MP rather than 4 MP. Yeah, like Troy says, if you have two spells at the same level, they will like swap. One time it will be one spell, the other time it will be second spell. So what many runners do is they level up your starter or the monster that you want to keep at least by one level, and that's when you fuse the monster, so that one spell has lower level than the other. Then AI3 will always choose that higher level spell. But because Wugga didn't do it, so now if he's using AI3, like Troy said, it will be sort of random which spell he will be having by using normal attack. So to avoid that, he needs to manually command which spell he wants to use. A little bit of annoyment, a little bit of a time loss, but Wugga's input is so quick, so fast that for him it's not gonna be that much of a deal. And with AO Mixture Magic, you anyways don't want to like have your familiar set to AI3 because, like I said, it's too expensive to be able to use at a whim. You do want to know when to use it. Yeah, so there you go. Wugga has to manually select which spell he wants to use. The thing with the Sword Mixture Magic that Wugga is using right now, oh, Aqua Wheel, bad input Wugga. The thing with the Sword Mixture Magic is that it's a special mixture magic in that sense that its power depends not only on the level of the spell but also on Ko in a sense, because it depends on what kind of weapon Ko has and what kind of attack power Ko has. So the stronger the Ko gets, the stronger the mixture magic is, which is not the case, for example, with AoE mixture magic. In this case, Wugga has a wand that gives like damage multiplier sort of to a mixture magic of 1.5. So definitely Wugga wants to use sword mixture magic here because it's quite powerful. In the meantime, on Shuzo's side, we can see him going through the towers, just gathering resources. He already found was it Neo? No, yeah, Neo Rise Ball. That's a very powerful water spell, and also a Binding Ball. That is a very good utility item. It paralyzes a monster for 4 turns. That's something that like is very useful, especially in the higher floors in the tower where you cannot really fight anymore. So you just want to paralyze and walk away. Sometimes we can see when they open up a menu what kind of defense metal has, and it's just like awfully huge number. Max defense at level 4 like being what, 30? Yeah, that's simply stupid. If they were able to recover the defense, that metal wouldn't take pretty much any damage. Minimum damage that you can take is 1, and from most of the monster it would take 1, even probably at elemental disadvantage. So definitely our runners will want to recover the defense. Defense is a little bit harder to recover than attack power. There is a herb for it, Shomuro herb, but it is very rare, much rarer than Hazak herb that recovers attack. Pretty much the only way in which they can recover defense is to use a water crystal. Water crystal is an item that recovers the full state of your familiar. So HP, MP, and all the statuses will go back to max. So in case of status, basically it will just go back to normal. and all of the stats also will recover. So I'm quite sure that like they're hoping for water crystal. And like Ski says, there is also Curol herb, which I completely forgot about. Curol herb is a herb that recovers all of the statuses and also the stats in this case. So Curol herb is easier to find than Shomuro herb. Let's see whether they are able to find some to raw M herbs. Unfortunately, that's not what both of them are hoping for. But yeah, and now we are on floor 7. In previous game, we could see that Wugga, when he had clown, he was a little bit exploring those lower floors. Now he's not exploring; he's just using exit loop. He's trying to get to the elevator as quickly as possible. He probably might be able to explore a bit or level up a bit on fire floors, starting from floor 10. But right now, he doesn't have good ways to deal with these monsters, so he just wants to go away quickly. Oh no, that's a tough situation. Bloom has a trait or a special attack where it can confuse a monster, and it successfully did so against the metal. So that metal that was very powerful was now against us. Oh no! Wugga goes down on floor 7 to a like very unfortunate situation. So for Shuzo to win this round, he just needs to get to floor 8 because that's a rule that whoever whoever gets to given floor faster, if they were both to go down on 7, the winner would be the one who got there faster. So yeah, Shuzo to win needs to get at least to floor 8. And to answer your question, Skif, no, Shomuro herbs are not spawnable. At least not in the tower number 1. Yeah, they can go via gacha or in tower number 2. That we don't want to touch here. But yeah, Wugga will just show us a little bit about the town, what can be done in the town, while waiting for Shuzo to either go down or take him over. Let's see, that floor was a little bit annoying to Wugga, so let's see how Shuzo will deal with it. We know where the elevator is. Shuzo doesn't, because he doesn't have exit loop, but he does have a star glasses. He decided not to use it. Oh, watch out, Shuzo, U-boats. You have to be very careful about those. How Wugga died. He had very low HP. He was close to the elevator, and U-boat attacked him. Tower was being a tower. But let's see. It's not a like win for Shuzo yet. He needs to get out of this floor to win the game, and it's not an easy thing. Come on, Shuzo, you've got resources. You've got balls. No arise, near rise, binding ball. Don't let your metal die. I think that is the room where the elevator is. Yes, but there are still monsters in that room. So what will Shuzo do? It's not an easy situation. You've got spell balls. Troy, don't troll me. But yeah, who knows? Maybe Shuzo has balls too. At least he's got 2 balls. Or 3 balls even. Sleep, rise, and binding. So this is a moment when our runners forget a little bit about the speedrun part of this game, and they go with okay, now I got the brain, what I should do. Okay, let's sleep. Bloom falls asleep. We still have a U-boat and a Manoiva to deal with, and another Bloom coming in. Okay, very low HP for metal. I don't think that it can take much more from this. Come on, Shuzo. I know that you don't know this, but like you just need to get out of this floor and you win. Okay, we are putting metal in a collar, but does that help? There is also a problem that Shuzo is wearing a scorch shield. It's a fire shield. Ko normally doesn't have any element, but when you're wearing an element shield, Ko becomes that element. And of course, fire is weak against water. So all of these three monsters, which are water, will deal more damage to Shuzo. He has to be very careful about what he's doing here. Okay, he's just trying to go around and get back to the elevator, but he's got a small monster train behind him, so all the steps have to be very, very careful. Luckily, they're like at a little bit of a distance. Only Manoiva is next to Shuzo, so he's got some room. And while he's walking, his HP is getting recovered, so that is a good thing. And it looks like the U-boat is already lost. That's nice. Shuzo, rotate. Yeah, we can get there. And there you go. Go to the elevator. And that's GG. Shuzo was able to survive both with a metal and got to the floor. So let me inform them. Let's see whether I can invite them for an interview, so we can hear their opinion of the seeds. Alrighty. Okay, they should be joining us very soon. I think we already have Wugga. Hello, Wugga. Congratulations.
Hello.
Gee.
Thank you.
What happened in seed number 3?
Gross damage miscalculation.
I thought that like tower was just a tower.
Yeah,
That's what
if you're referring to how I died, yeah, that was definitely just gross damage miscalculation.
Hey,
Shuzo.
Shuzo. GG.
I'm seeing people light up, but I'm not hearing anything.
We can hear you. We can hear you. I think everybody can hear you. You should be able to hear us. Check your sound. I know that I'm talking to you when you don't hear me, so it's probably pointless. But
There we go. I figured it.
There you go. GG, Shuzo. Hello, hello.
Guys. Case.
That was a fun set of seeds.
It
well,
was.
Let's start with you, Shuzo. Tell me, how do you feel about the seeds?
I mean, it's Azure Dreams as usual.
Oh, yeah. Azure Dreams being Azure Dreams.
I don't know how I missed that warp trap the first time around on the first one, though. And I hit it.
Go ahead.
And then I hit it the second time around, and I'm like, okay.
How did you hit a warp trap second time? You mean like it was already activated?
I had already been through that room. Like, I saw it, and I'm like, well, I'm going to explore more and see what else I can find.
Oh.
Then I guess I just stepped in the exact right spot going to exit, because I found the warp trap, and I'm like, this is a thing. And then, of course, the monsters didn't want to let me leave there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
How do you feel about the familiars that you were starting with? And the eggs?
It's definitely interesting. I honestly just don't play this game all the time. So seeing some of the interactions that I do and just be like, oh, that's cool. Like losing the first familiar on the second one right away. The egg was Amanda?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, does this guy have a spell? Nope. It looks like he can hit things really hard, though. And he could. Like, that was actually pretty interesting, just having it start beating the crap out of things with me instead of boosting my attacks with magic. So that was cool.
Yeah, I think like I saw on your screen that you were like trying to browse through what Mandara has to offer, and you were like, no spell. Like, what should I do? What should I do? Okay, I'll go with AI4.
We're both snacking things.
Yeah, and I think that like that actually also sort of killed your Mandara, because like you had it on AI forum and you were waiting on elevator to like recover your HP. Suddenly, the cyclone showed up, and that was it.
I held the buttons a little too long is what I did there, because I saw it come in and I had my hand down just like a second too long.
Oh yeah, that happens.
Because I'm like, oh, I saw it get hit and I'm like, well, I guess we're rolling on from here.
And the seed number 3, I want to say that this floor 7 was so mean. Wugga actually like had a tough situation that he decided, okay, I know where the elevator is because he used an exit loop, and I'm just gonna go for it, right? I've got a little bit low HP. But then when you get to the elevator room, you've got another bloom, one bloom behind you, and there is a U-boat. So what do you do, right? And Shuzo didn't have it any easier. He had a bloom. No, you had a U-boat behind you.
I had a
Then there was
boat
a
and a
Noiva bloom and another bloom. So
yeah. I got the one to sleep too. There was also the yellow guys. The
Manoivas.
Yeah. So yeah, we did a little bit of a lap before I could exit that floor.
Yeah. you had to make another like lap. You went around and you got to the elevator, and that was a GG. Thank you. Now going.
I only wish the metal was wind in that specific room. You could have taken out all of those enemies.
Blasphemy! How dare you say so?
That would have been great. I saw that didn't do any damage, and I'm like,
Yeah. Wugga, you fused the monsters in pretty much all of the seeds. Tell me more.
Well, the first one was, hold on.
Arachne.
Yeah, the Arachne was from the egg, I think.
Yes, and the starter was the Cyclone, the one that nearly killed you.
Yes. So that was a clear choice. Arachnes are great. Let's fuse those two together. And also reduce the MP cost. And also I found the Hazak herb, so I was pretty much set for that seed. Because I could have just retained the attack for the Arachne at some point.
But you almost died to a Cyclone, right?
Yeah, I destroyed a couple of Cyclones with a Noah Breath because I knew, their magic spells are super bad. And then I was counting on, like, that one time when I got actually hit with the spell, I was counting on the Mirror Shield to come through, and it didn't. And I was left, I think, with 4 HP after that attack. That was scary.
Did you, Shuzo, like, because I didn't see it on your screen, did you have a situation where a Cyclone sniped you with a spell?
No, the only thing that decided it liked to cast spells at me were the fire guys.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, the flames. I got lucky. I didn't get blasted by cyclone spells, at least.
Oh yeah, that grave like is so stupidly powerful. It should be forbidden.
Yeah.
Yes, whenever you see a cyclone starter, I get scared because it means you're not free to explore the early floors anymore. It's not cool. Luckily, the cyclone was water, and we got a starter wind spell, and I also found another wind spell, so I knew I could blast away a few times, but I didn't want to spend all my resources on just cyclones. And I almost paid the ultimate price for it.
And then round number 2 happened, and you didn't want to too much explore floors 1, 4. You wanted to explore water floors, right?
Yeah, I mean, Wind Clown, of course, that's what you do. Everything's free.
Exactly. Suddenly, Krakens, U-boats, blooms are not scary at all. You can deal with them so easily.
Yeah, but then you get to floor 10 and you don't have a means to switch your element, and all of a sudden, this is not cool anymore.
I could see the urge on fire floors that you started using those exit loops and star glasses. I wonder why.
Yeah. This tournament setting really changes how you use your resources, I think.
Oh yeah, definitely.
One thing that Revan mentioned, I think, in the interview between you two, was that there are no fire spells, so all of a sudden you have to rethink. Okay, I have wind and water spells, and I have a fire familiar. How am I going to make this work for the next few floors, and from there on out? I really like that. It forces you to think outside the any percent box, and I truly like that. I really do.
Yeah, it makes it so that like every game is really different. You don't have like one predefined path that you're always going through. Like, okay, here I'll be like this element, right? And I always have like fireballs to as a backup, etc. Now, like shuffling elements is probably more important than ever. Of course, you can get stupidly lucky and just have elevator next to you all the time and not worry about fighting at all. But if you do have to fight, yeah, there is more strategic elements than in any percent. That's for sure. Anyways, guys, would you like to add something before we finish?
My mind is a blank.
I missed the last tournament. It's definitely fun playing Azure. And like, I love this game. This is a good game. So
It's a very good game, very fun, and especially in this rule set. I think that like Sand Knight has done such a good job in like coming up with this random toolkit tournament. I really love what Wugga said in the last tournament. That it's like a DLC for the game that like you thought that already like played long time ago and like you know everything about it, but suddenly there is this new exciting DLC, and I fully agree. It changes so much, at the same time keeping the magic of Azure Dreams. So through that. But
I
yeah,
still stand by it.
I fully agree. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this match. Wugga proceeds in the bracket to the next round. Shuzo is still in the game. This is a double elimination tournament, so anything can happen. Do we know already what's gonna happen with you guys? Let me quickly check. So Wugga won. So Wugga will win. In next round, Wugga will play against the winner of the match that we're gonna have tomorrow, Fi versus Poulet, and Shuzo is going to play against the loser of that match. So both of you probably should watch that match tomorrow at 9 a.m. EST. But that's not all that we have for you today. We still have a match at 3 p.m. today. Septic versus Stan Knight. Very hyped match.
Oh,
Definitely
that's gonna
you
be
want to
so
be.
hype.
Oh yeah,
that should be
well,
interesting.
you want to watch that match at 3 p.m. today. But for now, that's it. Thank you guys. Thank you to the runners. GG. Thank you to the chat for showing up. For many, I know that it's early. For me, it's definitely early. For Wugga, I know that it's like what, afternoon, late afternoon.
Yeah.
And as usual, very big thank you to the Speed Gaming. You guys are amazing. You make this tournament for us to be so easy. So thanks everyone. Have a great day. Have a great afternoon. Have a great evening, and hopefully see you again at 3 p.m. EST. Take
Thank
care.
you, everyone. And good luck with the rest of the tournament, Shuzo. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah. Good luck to you too. Thank you.
Bye.
Good stuff. Bye.
Toodles.
Oh.